Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Leisure Cooking at Home with Barry. Today, we're going to be smoking a beef brisket, but we're going to be doing an abbreviated version for the video, one that you can do right in your backyard. At the end of the day, we hope that your brisket will look like this, dark, with nice smoke rings, very tender, very juicy. As you can see, the meat just basically falls apart. And that's due to the process I use while smoking my brisket. But we'll get into that a little later. But before we start, I always ask that if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We love making new friends and you'll get new content. And if you like the content, give us a like and a thumbs up. Leave a comment or a question. I'll always try to get back to any questions that are asked on the channel. And please share with your family and friends. All right, let's get started with this beef brisket. You'll notice that the beef brisket has two parts. It has a point side as well as what we call the flat. There are also certain sections on both sides of the brisket that you want to discard and trim away. This part is the decal fat. It's pretty hard and is very hard to render during the cooking process. On the other side of the brisket, you'll see the fat cap. And most briskets will have a rough edge around the side there. Just trim that off and it should look a little something like this. For this video, I didn't show all my regular trimming that I would do. I'm going to save that for a more extended video. But for more specific trimming tips, check the description below. I have a couple of links down there for you to follow. All right, let's prepare for the dry rub. For this brisket, I'm going to be using my very own B signature seasonings and barbecue rubs. It's an all-purpose seasoning that I've put together. For more information on the seasonings and how you can get yours, check out the description. I'll have a link there for you. Okay, when preparing your brisket for seasoning, you have several options. You can use the natural moisture of the brisket, or you can use a binder, such as mustard or mayonnaise. I used mustard. Some people feel that the mustard will change the flavor of the brisket as you're cooking, but it actually doesn't. What it does do is act as a perfect adhesive or binder for the dry rub that you're going to use to season your brisket. This is why we call it a binder. Now that we have the side with the point and flat covered with a thin layer of mustard, we want to flip her over and do the same with the side that has the fat cap. You want to cover that in a thin layer of mustard as well. Now that I have a nice binder on my brisket, here's where I want to add my B signature seasonings and barbecue rubs. I'm going to apply a generous amount on both sides to make sure that it's covered just right. Now we're ready to begin the smoking process. You can see I'm starting out at about 250 degrees and the brisket is just right for the grill. I'm going to start my time at about 9:15 in the morning. It's been about 4 hours now. Let's take a look and see how everything's turning out. You can see that we're getting a nice color. Every now and then I'll take a bottle of a mixture that I use, which is basically apple cider vinegar, apple juice, and a little bit of white cooking wine, just to spritz the outside to keep it moist during the smoking process. It's not mandatory, but I like to do it just to make sure I achieve some periodic moisture during the smoking process. All right, we've been at the smoking process for about a good 9 hours now. This is pretty much at the point where I would begin to take the brisket off the grill, go through a wrapping process, and I use paper, butcher paper, and then put the brisket back on the grill to smoke for about another 3 hours. But for now, you'll find some links in the description below to give you some wrapping options. You can use either aluminum foil or you can use butcher paper. All right, now that it's been about 12 and a half hours, give or take, I've taken the brisket off the grill and now we're ready to see what we have. As I begin to separate the two halves, you can already see just how moist, juicy, and tender this brisket is. You can also see the very pronounced smoke rings on the inner edge of the brisket. Now let's cut a slice and take a closer look. And now for that all-important taste test. So juicy, so tender, actually melts in your mouth. Well, friends, that's it for this abbreviated backyard version of my method of smoking a beef brisket. As I mentioned earlier, I will be uploading an expanded version of my brisket smoking process in the near future. But for now, please remember, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. We love to have new friends join us. Also, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave a message or a comment. And any questions, I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. And as always, please remember to share with your family and friends so that we can spread these recipes all across the globe. So until next time, enjoy your smoking, and we'll see you on another episode of Leisure Cooking at Home with Barry.